Goodness comes and evil goes. Kimungo Ukombozi, Kimungo Ukombozi, Kimungo Ukombozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth. Karibu, welcome. My name is Kwende, and today we're going to get into another important subject, and that subject is Omowale Malcolm X and the journey of emergence. The Creator Supreme gifted African people with a special substance of eternity. And when we come into being, we have special qualities, special inheritances like no other. We are, of course, the primary and spirit people of creation, so we are directly connected to the ultimate divine. And so that in itself is grand inheritance that every African should claim. We are also emerged from our own lineage, our own family lineage. And Omowale Malcolm X came from a powerful lineage. The earliest known antecedent in his lineage is the African Ajar from the Mandingo of West Africa, who called upon the Creator Supreme by the name Pharaoh, and who was captured and transported to the Americas, and was known to be a rebellious African, not wanting to comply and be pliable for enslavement. The spirit of freedom was strong. And from generation to generation until we get to Earl Little, Malcolm's father, a staunch Garveyite, a leader, a president of a Garvey chapter, a chapter of the Garvey movement, the UNIA, and his mother, Louise, who was also part of the Garvey movement, and a senior member that was a recording secretary and contributor to the internet or the worldwide Garvey newspaper. This is the family that Omowale Malcolm X was brought forth by, came into being as a result of souls that were missioning for African freedom, for African liberty, for African nationhood, for African ascension. And there's a saying, an African saying, an African proverb: as you raise a child, so will he be, so will she be. And there is profound lessons in that. And the living lesson, the living example that we have of the great hero Omowale Malcolm X. This is a Garveyite child. And you see here the Garvey colors, because that's where they're from. Red, black, and green. This is what would have been familiar to him as a child growing up, as he accompanied his father to the Garvey meeting and would hear the forthright discussions, the African-centered talk that would resonate in the profound depths of his soul. We can learn from that because it holds up a mirror to say, well, how are we grounding our young one? Are we shaping the young ones to determine what they will be and to reach their full potential and reach their own full capability with a responsibility to their own kind? And to just illustrate this, let us hear a few words from Malcolm's older sibling, his elder brother, Wilfred.
One thing that might help in understanding Malcolm is to know that in our family background, we were always activists. The two heroes that we were taught to look up to, these were the two that my father always liked, was Marcus Garvey and Booker T. Washington. When we were in, I think it was Milwaukee, there was a time when Marcus Garvey they were attempting to deport him. In fact, they did deport him eventually. But he came through and stayed with us. We couldn't tell anybody that he was there at the time.
So those were the words then of Omowale Malcolm X's older sibling, Wilfred. And let that resonate in ourselves so that we know the duty, the role, responsibility that we have for ourselves and young ones that we may be in close proximity with, if not directly parents of. From generation to generation, the African must climb. And each generation has its window of the physical lifespan to utilize that time to the best of our ability to ensure, to secure the continual ascension of African souls where we are, African souls as a people. So with that food for thought, and surely it is food for thought, Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth.
The sun who has returned home, for Africans back on top. The sun who has returned home, for Africans back on top. The sun who has returned home, for Africans back on top. The sun who has returned home, for Africans back on top.